Hey, yo, it's me, Pops Fan Marmalade, and you're watching the Comics-Related Madness Network. Huh? So come get some. CromCon. CromCon.
Hey, we want to shout out to our sponsors, Daytona Beach Comic Con. If you are a fan of comic books, if you're a fan of comic book conventions, and if you like meeting comic book creators and getting comics and comic-related stuff, then you need to make your plans to attend Daytona Beach Comic Con. This year's show is September 9th and 10th. Silverline will be there, so you should make your plans to be there too. We'll see you there. If you like comics and find yourself in the Orlando, Florida area, doesn't everyone come to Orlando at some point in time to see the House of Mouse? But when you're here, you need to make it a point to visit Coliseum of Comics, especially the one on East Colonial Drive. They carry Silverline comics, even a limited edition Coliseum of Comics version of our comics. So, when you go, be sure to ask for Silverline Comics and tell them we sent you. OCD stands for Orlando Collector Deviants. OCD, Steve and Trish, they're a family of geeks who promote geek things, particularly those around the Orlando, Florida area. They're big supporters of Silverline, and we think you should be supporters of theirs too. Go give them some love. If you are an independent comic book maker and you need to get your independent comics made, you need to look no further than Kablam! Kablam Digital Printing. They print our books, and they do a bang-up job. They're not only trusted by Silverline, but many, many independent comic book makers. Head on over to kablam.com and see for yourself just how easy it is to have your comic printed by them. And tell them Silverline sent you.
Hi, this is Tim TK, host of That Silverline Show on Tuesday. Join us at 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday night as we discuss pop culture and the joys of making comics.
Hi, I'm Barb Kilber, co-host of Silverline's Wednesday Wham. Join us each Wednesday night as we discuss comics, literature, movies, and anything else that may catch our attention.
I'm Roland Mann, and I host Silverline's Silver Sunday. Join me every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern as we make mine Silverline.
And good evening, hello, how's everybody doing today? Welcome to Wednesday Wham out there in the world. We got a wonderful cast and crew with us here today. And down below, I've got the venerable Rob Davis. Introduce yourself, Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob Davis.
There we go. Woohoo!
Hey,
Penciler and inker extraordinaire. So yes, he is known for his work on Deep Space Nine and other books.
I was going to go a ba-dump bump and then go, but you beat me to it. Okay.
All right.
And a smart to boot.
And you've been a veteran of the comic book industry for what, 30-something years now?
35 or so.
35 years. All right, there we go.
Yeah. 86, I think, was the first professional work I did, and it was comic book work very shortly thereafter, 87, I think. So, yeah, so it's been a while.
He's worked for the independents, the big boys, and now for Silverline. And that secret project that you've been working on, how's that going? It's right there.
I'm up to page 16, and it's behind me now.
Page 16. Are we allowed to talk about it yet, or we just got to keep saying it's a secret project?
I don't know. From what I understand, I think the writer has actually talked about it. But Barb and I are still calling it a secret project. So we're going to talk. I think when the first issue's done, we will probably talk openly about it. She's got page 15 inked. I don't know where it stands on coloring, but it's coming right along. It's going to be a 21 or 22 page book. So we're getting there slowly but surely.
Nice. Awesome.
I folded in between all the other stuff that I'm doing. So, which, all right. Yeah, I'm busier now being retired than I was when I was actually working a full-time job.
But
So
it's the good busy though, right? That's the point. It's the good
it's the busy on things I want to
Right.
do. You know, when somebody asks me, "Do you want to work on a comic book?" Yeah. You know, and every once in a while I have to turn one down because I got too much going on. But yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm doing what I want to do. So there is hope at the end of the tunnel, guys.
See,
Yeah.
I'm so far down in the tunnel, I can't see it right now.
Oh, I know.
All right.
I was there, man.
Cassisi.
And sometimes the light coming at you is an
It's
oncoming train. It's not the end.
All right, Cassisi, give us your rundown. Who are you?
Yeah,
What's
I
your
like to
deal?
introduce myself as the aspiring, right? Of the folks here, I am the newbie, right? So I penned
all
a issue or a story in the Silverline Christmas issue, right?
So you're a pro now. You are a pro.
I get one
now.
credit. I get a credit.
Yeah.
And then I've also penned the first and second issue of the new Silverline team up, Volume 2 with Tempest and Miss Fury. So just saw page 22 finished. So we'll see it get colored and.
Awesome.
While we're on that subject, how does it? I've heard this from other writers.
Mm-hmm.
How does it feel when you see what you've written on the page suddenly brought to life by an artist?
Oh, it's
how
a
does
great.
that?
Yeah,
It
is
feel?
one of the greatest feelings because you have it in your head all the time, right?
Yeah, it's in here, but
yeah.
Suddenly,
and so when you see, the telepathy happened, right? You conveyed a message, and then now they make that vision come to life. It is amazing. Yeah.
So and the other aspect of it is you kind of had a vision of it in one way in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Then the artist brings it to the table, and you're like, oh, they made it so much better, or they changed this, and that's cool. And there's like all these little differences that are kind of all over the place, and it's like really, really cool.
And it's
Angel.
And the greatest part is if you're open to that, like if you're not like stuck in your little imaginary world and you're open to an artist bringing it to life, man, it is awesome because you're like, man, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Right? And the way they portrayed that was so awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. And in this particular medium, you have to be open to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You can't be rigid in how you want things drawn, because it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Once it leaves your hands, you're handing it to the next person in line. That you've handed them your baby. Mm-hmm. Now it's their time to raise it, and they're going to raise it differently than you did.
Yeah, it has to be a team. And harmony has to happen. It can't.
It's a matter.
Your baby off to somebody else. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of perspective.
Hey, great
segue.
Boom! All right, yes. So this discussion tonight is going to be about a matter of perspective, both from the illustration point of view and from possibly the storytelling point of view. So we're going to talk about
how. I'm going to feel real stupid tonight because I.
No,
not at all.
I have a couple of very interesting pages that show perspective in a very, not necessarily. Perspective from the drawing point of view, but from the character point of view, which is kind of. So we're going to have a little bit of fun playing with some ideas with perspective in comics and how this is going to work. Yeah. All right. So I'm Martin Mertonen, and good news, everybody! Wolf Hunter 2 has been finally colored and done. Woo-hoo! It's in the Dropbox. Roland, you can see it on the Dropbox. If you haven't got the messages on Facebook, you can go and download all your wonderful colored pages. And I am so sorry for taking so long, but it is finally done. This was now coloring is actually hard. Just so you know, it is hard.
I'm sorry, it's all hard, really, when you get down to it.
So
it's not like the coloring books. I mean, we get them when we're
okay. So. All right, I do admit my bubble got deflated early on because I was trying a whole bunch of different things, and then I felt like I didn't get any feedback. It was partly my fault. It was probably all my fault. And then I kind of I kept on trying all sorts of different things, and then it's just kind of like, okay. Then eventually it finally kicked in, but it took forever. But I do apologize. But it is done. It is colored. It is ready to go. And I did a really different approach on this one, and I'm excited to see how it turns out because it's very different for me. I don't know if it's different for comic books in general. It might be. I don't think it's anything innovative, but it has a very interesting look. So I'm excited about that. So just in case you guys don't, go ahead.
You've shown it all along.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of the little tricks, methods that you use.
Yeah.
I mean, and Barb is trying to learn coloring too, and she's going, "Ooh, how did you do that?" So yeah, you've yeah, and I just barely dabble in coloring at all because I got penciling and inking to do. I'm good there, but I do dabble in it. When I self-publish, I do my own because I can't afford a colorist. So I do most of it myself. And to think where we are when I first started in this business, they were still doing coloring by taking photostats of the page, marking it with dyes, and then indicating what each color was. So that when it went to the pre-press room at the printer, he would cut all the colors in.
Wow.
So I started.
Yeah, now you can scan it. Then there was scanning it in, and now there's creating it in a computer. So
so I started doing my research into how comics were made, like in my late teens. So I started analyzing how it was done, and I started getting all the books I could on how to create comics and everything else like that. And I started going the coloring route to find out how to do that. And I started learning the system, and it was just when computers started taking off. So and I was like, well, why do I have to do any of that when I've got the computer and it just does it for me? So I was just like,
I was
actually
a lot less work.
I was a very, very early adopter of Wacom graphic tablets. We had these small fluorescent ones you could get at Radio Shack. I don't know if you guys have Radio Shack down in the States, but we had a store called Radio Shack.
Most of them are gone.
Yeah, they're gone now.
Gone. They're only online here in the States. So
they call it the Source now. And so coloring can be fun. Yes, hi David Rios. How are you? Oops. Coloring can be fun, but Martin is right. There is a hard aspect to it, even after doing it for so long. Yeah. So So part of my problem is there's so many different ways to do something, and then I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that, I like this, and then I want to try it all, but you can't do that. So anyways, here at Silverline, we do wonderful books.
Yes.
We do Trumps. We do Divinity. We do Sniper and Rook. We do
Twilight Grimm. There you
Twilight Grimm. And our wonderful flagship title, Cat and Mouse. You got to get that book. Cray. Yep, there's Team Beetle. Team Beetle just had a Kickstarter or Fund My Comic run.
Yep, Silverline Team Up.
Silverline Team Up. Yep. And yeah. Oh yes, and
Beyond the Stars. Yep. Kalis, the dad book.
The ultimate dad comic, the best dad comic on the planet. This book makes a kick butt movie. This is an awesome book. It reads like a movie. It looks like a movie.
We even have
it's so cool.
Bear.
Bear is a fantastic allegory. If you haven't, if you need something for the kids, it is really, really well done.
Well, it's definitely an all ages book because it doesn't just appeal to kids.
Yeah,
parents,
there's
deeper meaning, some stuff out of it too.
Yeah, there's some deeper meaning in there.
And did we cover this one?
No, Divinity. Yeah, we did show Divinity.
Did we cover that? I didn't hear that one.
Wolf Hunter.
Here's Wolf Hunter. Here's the first book with the wonderful, fantastic cover that you can get, or you can get the retro cover. I don't know if this is available anymore, but if it isn't, this could be worth something because this might be limited print. Yeah. So we got books, and then we got books, and we got books,
and we're now in previews. And
all right,
you better get your order in for October because October's almost over. So. And Twilight Grimm #2 was in previews this month. So if you haven't gotten in there and ordered it, get it Get in there now.
Get it while it's hot.
Yeah.
Well, after the show, but yeah.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about perspective. Perspective. So we are going to look at a bunch of really cool pages, and we're going to look at some different types. But I want to kind of push the envelope a little bit. Everybody knows about 1-point perspective and 2-point perspective and 3-point perspective. But do you know your 5-point perspective?
No.
No.
Never.
All right.
I ain't touching that. I ain't touching that with a 5-point.
So 5-point perspective is also called curvilinear perspective, and it has a very interesting dynamic to it because it makes things curve. So it's kind of like sticking it into a marble or a ball or into a fish bowl or something.
Or a fisheye lens. Yeah.
And depending on how you do it, it can be more extreme or less extreme. But it adds a really neat dynamic to your page. And one of my absolute favorite artists of all time is Scott McDaniel. If you ever hear this, Scott McDaniel, I love you. I think you're a great artist, and I love what you've been doing for years and years and years. And if ever you want to do a show, hit us up. We will do a show with you. I think I'm going to reach out to him and see if he'd be willing to jump on.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah. We can go to anybody in the world thanks to the internet. So
all right, so let's start with this Batman page here to see what we got going on, and let's see if I can move this out of the way. So there we go. All right, so this is got a hint of that curvilinear perspective happening.
Does.
If you can see that. How's it showing up on the screen there? I'm a little bit. There we go.
I got my iPad here, so I have to kind of. That's why I'm reaching toward the camera here to zoom in to see it a little better.
So if you're looking carefully, everything has a little bit of a curve to it. So let's pull out the red marker here or the red pen and see what we can figure out what's going on in it. Like, how dynamic of a shot is that, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Like that's like crazy. Like you got.
Yeah, I would probably, if I were doing it, I'd use 1-point perspective. But he's taking it to a whole nother level by giving everything that curve in the background. So so it just gives it even more pop.
So you got something happening here like this, and then you got this coming up like this, and this coming in like this.
Yeah.
Now let's see what's going on in this background. Like this is so crazy. Oh no, don't crash. Oh, please don't crash. All right. So it's recovering. Don't worry, folks, it's gonna recover. But
really talking about that happening while you
I might have to.
I like it because, whatever if this is 5-point perspective, whatever it is kind of really making the explosion more chaotic, right? Like it's just going off everywhere. I kind of like that about it. Yeah. In a way that like maybe one perspective couldn't do it.
I would. Unlike the usual perspective that I do, where I actually line it up and do all this, I would probably try and freehand the feel.
Right.
And it looks like maybe he's done that here, because the fence in the foreground is in a different perspective than the stuff in the background. And there's that. Yeah, it's totally chaotic.
So there's just a little bit. So there's a little bit of a curve, just a slight curve on the buildings in the background.
Mm-hmm.
And then okay, so then
it's like they went,
Yeah. So everything's sweeping up. So this curve probably is coming in like this here. Yeah, there you go. All right, so this is coming on. So these bricks are coming on that curve, like that. And then if you see these people, this guy's running on this line, and then this girl is running on this, right? So so you've got some really crazy. And then this is going where's this going? This is going kind of up in there.
Maybe.
So man, he really there you go. So there's that.
Yeah, so unlike 1, 2, or 3 point perspective, this has got all kinds of stuff going on. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is probably where this must be the horizon line here. This line right here. Oh,
That crashed it again. Too many lines on there.
Yeah.
I guess as an artist, would you only use this for like maybe 1 or 2 pages in a book? Like,
Well, okay. Well, so this is interesting. So when he was doing Nightwing, when he did Nightwing, he would actually incorporate it into almost every page.
wow.
Yeah,
It feels like it would be overwhelming to see this type of.
Well, I'm gonna let's see if I can. I'm gonna pull up the Nightwing page here, and we will see how he does it. Here we go. All right. So all right. So
okay.
Yeah.
So
the bottom
all right.
panel's got some of it going on. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's.
Okay.
So it's just enough. It's like not the whole. It's just like just
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
It makes it kind of panoramic.
Mm-hmm.
Gives it a panoramic feel. Yeah. Okay.
I really wish I could get that. Yeah. Oh. The white screen of death. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Okay. Let's see if I can get the. Oh, there we go. Now. Okay. Right. So one of his Scott McDaniel's favorite things to do is to put like this circle thing on his pages. Mm-hmm. He does it all the time. That's one of his patterns. He's
got a swirl going on his page.
Yeah.
That's what he's got, because he starts at the top.
Yeah.
And he goes. Well, let me see if I can do it like that. He's got this going on the page.
Yeah.
With that perspective to help you help the
eye.
The eye go across the page, because you look, Nightwing's arm comes down into Batman's head.
Mm-hmm.
For part of the input, but in the background there's that swoop right behind that panel that brings you in, and then down to the next panel where it swoops back. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so to say the least, like his Nightwing run was very dynamic. Like it was like you always felt like everything was moving on the page, and that everything was always off. everything was off kilter. Everything was like So okay, so we got this, and you got this. So you got this running around like this, like, and he's excellent at his composition. So this runs into here, right? This curve, right? And then he comes back to here, right? And then you come back, and then so he's got the curvilinear thing happening here. So these are all curved, right? So this is kind of like
an S reversed stacked on top of another S.
Yeah,
is essentially what he's got going on there. Yeah, that's nice.
Now, if my wonderful screen would stop blinking out, that would be absolutely fantastic.
We're still seeing it, so
okay, there we go.
So we're good.
All right, there we go. Let me just see if I can turn some stuff off, and maybe that'll help.
Yeah, like I had to close a lot of windows on my iPad, or it'll crash.
Yeah, this is. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Ryan.
No. I was good. I was making.
This is good. When you first, when you first introduced it, at least to me, you guys probably have seen it a lot, but when you first introduced it, I thought that the whole page was going to be like that Batman page where everything is kind of exposed to it. But as I see it here, I really like it because you can have him as the focal point, just so your brain isn't overwhelmed with.
Yeah. So it's about subtlety sometimes. It's just to use it to give you that extra tilt.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he also uses a concept that another professional artist told me about. He goes, when you're composing a page, pick one panel as your focus and build the rest of the page around that focus. And that's exactly what he's done here. Nightwing in the foreground in that second panel that's the hero panel on that page. That's the one that stands out, and everything else is built around that. So, yeah, nice.
That's a really good. I'm gonna store that in my brain as a writer, just to see how it would change how I construct a page and the panel count on a page as a result of that. So I'm gonna store that.
Give him a hero panel. Give him something to give the artist. Find out what the artist likes to draw best or what he's best at, and give him a panel for that every page. In one way, if you can. Sometimes your story is not going to be able to do that, but if you can, give him something like that every page. He will love you.
So I'm going to show you one page where it's a little more subtle and not as blatant, but it still adds the little bit of that dynamic punch. So hopefully this. There we go. All right. So here we go. All right. So you can still see there's the curving happening, right? But it's not totally out to it's not like completely.
It's just not overwhelming. Yeah, it's not
subtle.
overwhelming.
Yeah, it's subtle rather than overwhelming.
Yeah. So let's see. Why did my pen decide not to do red marks? That's red. Here, let's give myself a new raster layer here.
Yeah, even the bow is involved in the how it's bringing everything.
Yeah. So then this is coming. Yeah. So I go in there. All right, and then.
Yeah, Vince says nice work.
Yeah. Now this is not my work. This is Scott McDaniel. So his stuff is absolutely fantastic.
This is not something I would do.
Right.
Yeah, it's not, but it works wonders for his stuff.
Yeah. So now I was talking with Rob earlier before the show started, and I had asked him if we could do a draw over of one of his panels to see what that might look like. So we might do that a little bit later. You still okay with that, Rob? Or
I'm fine. I'm fine with it. No.
Okay. No, yeah. So it's not an issue. It's not an issue of this is better or this is
no.
It's just I just want
to yeah. How
you
want to
see there's a difference between Michelangelo and Da Vinci. So And I am not comparing myself to them, but I'm just saying, every artist has his own way he looks at the world. I'm using extreme examples of some of the greatest minds in art in history, just to kind of give punch to my point. But every artist sees things differently.
So he's a little bit on the. Deathstroke. This is Deathstroke, right? He's on that curve.
Yeah, Deathstroke and Green Arrow looks like.
Green Arrow.
Yeah. So that's again his compositions and his stuff is just so cool. So and here's another shot.
Yeah.
And so now this is kind of doing kind of like if you were looking into a ball instead of on the outside of the ball. So curves come in a different way.
Is that Batman and Daredevil?
Yeah, that's a Batman Daredevil crossover. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They didn't kill each other. All right.
No. So, anyways, there's another interesting perspective shot. So yeah, so it's very, very kind of cool. Let's take a look at some of these other shots that I have of other pages. Some of these are just going to be like, that's just so cool. And if you guys see something here that you want to take a look at, just let me know if something that here is popping out at you. Okay. Perhaps we'll do the more formal 5-point perspective drawing here, just so people can get an idea of what a formal 5-point perspective drawings look like, and that's kind of in this here.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be a formal one.
Yeah.
And this is, so you're essentially looking in a fisheye lens or a marble or a ball, and everything kind of stretches out.
Yeah. MC Escher did some stuff like that. Yeah, where he held a spear in his hand and drew it, which does that kind of thing. Wow.
And then here's a library picture, which is very kind of cool. So the thing that's really cool about this is you can see you can see like this area here and this area here all at once, right? Like it's not, you're not.
It's like panoramic. Yeah, it's a panoramic.
You're not limited to, a zone. So okay, so this is interesting. So you got
it's reloading again.
You've got a curve here. Then you got this curve here. So okay, so I guess your perspective lines are hitting somewhere about there, but then you got this thing happening, which is interesting. Oh wow, man!
There's a lot going on in there.
How many hours do you think it took this guy to do this thing? Crazy. Okay, and then there's going to be something here somewhere because everything's going to a point there. There you go. Okay, so there's at one point, then these things are all going to come off of there.
Got the French curves.
Yeah. Now, the really fun thing about Clip Studio Paint is it actually has a 5-point perspective ruler in it, so you can cheat, which is lots of fun. There you go. Wow, this is a crazy picture. Now, how did he do? How do you think he did this? So all of this is going to. So he has a point. He has a perspective point here. Is he doing? So we were talking about multiple perspectives before the show started here, and
that's what this is. Yeah.
And that's what this looks like, eh? So he has a perspective point here for the roof, and then he's got perspective point here. So this is 1 point. That's 2 points. That's 3 points. That's 4 points, and the 5th point would be somewhere down here, I guess. Very
somewhere down
fascinating. Yeah.
Because it's with those. Yeah.
Wow. That's a mind bender, eh?
It's kind of intimidating. As a writer, I would never ask an artist. Like I would. I feel like they would cuss me out if I said, "Well, this panel I want," and
Okay. So all right. Hang on. So this is where now I gotta go back to our wonderful friend Scott McDaniel here, because I gotta show you this, because.
Yeah, I would never. Yeah.
So, so he has the character coming down through all his historical costumes,
mm-hmm.
and then he has a very slight curve on his perspective here. So, what's going on?
Yeah, it's all bringing you down to where Nightwing's hands are striking at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So this is, and then he's got there. I do apologize. My voice just went crazy. All right, there. Yeah. So So Kasisi. So this is what you need to do: is tell your artist, okay, I want a shot where the character has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 different poses.
They would never work
in one panel. Right. In one panel. So yeah. So if you want to see, like, what is it? What is this technique called, Rob? There's a name for this, where the character is seen.
Well, that's it. Well, I just call it a pinup, but it's a montage of each costume. Well, in this particular case, each costume of the character.
Right.
It could be different stages in the life of a character. Like a dream sequence, or it could be rendered this way. There's several different things you could use that kind of thing for. Yeah. If you've got it, and if it's all in the same costume, that's cinematic in the fact that the character's going through all this tumbling,
moving.
So, yeah. So it's kind of cinematic that it's a montage more or less.
Yeah. So, but there's a name for if a character like does a sequence of moves in a one panel, like, so if they do like a jump and a roll or something, or a jump roll and a kick.
Yeah, don't ask me, because I
can't remember what that's
going
called.
there at all. I can't think of what it is. I'm not even getting. My mind will sometimes go. I can get the first letter, but the rest of the word won't come. I got nothing on this one. But yeah, there is a word for it, but I got nothing on it at the moment.
All right. So
maybe one of our viewers will. I don't know.
Okay, so that's 5-point perspective, and it creates dynamics on the page. But there's some interesting stuff where actually, like, what happens if you actually apply perspective to the page? Like this is like check this out. How cool is this?
That's crazy, yeah.
I like it.
What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 panels?
Oh, well, let's
Yeah.
1,
Yeah.
2,
11.
3,
Looks like
4, 5. Does this count? 6.
Well, see, I didn't count that one. I didn't count that one. It would be 12 if you counted that one.
Well,
yeah.
okay, now here's the question: like, if,
12.
Is this all one panel, or is this all broken up into a bunch of different things? So are these different panels that are all?
See, I would think the gutter line is what.
Let's say this is one panel: 7,
yeah.
8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and I don't know. Does that count?
I included
13.
it in there.
Yes.
But
yeah, I believe it does. 1, 2,
13.
3, 4,
Now
5,
this is all dependent on whether or not it's all dependent on whether or not you split this into panels too. Like,
well, the gutter line though is what's denoting the difference.
Yeah,
right?
but this is in a way this is like a panel here, right? Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
wow,
if we go with gutters,
way too many panels on that page, but it works.
I want to know how it was written. I would love to see in the script
I'd love to see
how
the script
that
on
was.
that too.
Yeah, how that was described, because
it may have been when he described it 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 6 panels.
Mm-hmm.
Is the way I'm looking at it, and then he split it up to give it a more cinematic feel.
Or
what he did with it.
All those panels are tension, like, oh my gosh, he's falling.
Yeah, so everything
Exactly.
is coming like this. This is all.
Well, how much script is on that page? There's
there's a lot of script.
There's more than I admitted.
So I'm wondering if the artist was given the thing and he went, oh, that's way too much script. How do I cram it all in here? And this was his solution.
That's a solution.
I mean, it's a masterful solution, though. I mean,
yeah.
All right. So now here's another page where they've applied perspective to the entire page, and like this is
that's an old-fashioned 9-panel breakdown. Mm-hmm. That's essentially one big panel with just borders stuck in it. Wow.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. This is actually a really cool sequence.
Yeah. So the perspective goes down to here, coming into here.
Oh, right. and you read the panels in an unusual pattern too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not the typical zine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a spiral in.
It is.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
And you're led by the blam, 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 blam. That's what keeps you on that. Keeps you working with it. Wow, nicely done.
This is a very cool page. So I'm very happy I found this because this is so cool. So what do we got going? So this is coming out there. All right, let's go delete on that. Let's see. Oh no, I was drawing on the page.
Don't do that.
I was drawing right on the page. I didn't want to do that. I want to draw. You always want to draw on a layer above.
Yeah, okay. Put a layer in. Yep.
New raster layer. Here we go. All right. So let's see. So we got this is the vanishing point. Got this. So now this looks like more like a classic 1-point perspective or some sort of 2-point perspective thing going on. I think. We got that. I don't know. I don't know where that's going. That's not going to this vanishing point. So this must be a 2-point perspective of some kind. So because this is going somewhere else. So that's going there. That's going there.
It's freehanded. It's freehanded.
So yes,
he's not going on. He's not using any kind of grid or anything like that. He's freehanded this, and
Yeah,
then
but
straightened it out as it was inked. Yeah,
but it works. But it works.
yeah,
It works so well.
yeah, it works beautifully.
Very, very cool. Very, very cool. So, yeah, so folks, when you have perspective, play with stuff. All right, let's take a look at some other pages. Oh, this is cool. There we go. So here's a couple more pages where they've applied perspective to the page itself. So, like, all right. Okay, now you want to talk panels? There you got, how many, 30, 40 panels?
Yeah, this is really, yeah.
So, yeah, so it's interesting you tilt that, okay? And then this page here, you also tilt. So, all right, so now I mentioned at the start of the show something like, okay, let's talk about
there's no ruled borders. There's no ruled borders. It's,
yeah.
It's done with color.
So we're talking about a little bit about now perspective of characters a little bit with this, right? So you got this character come running in, and then you got this face right here in the center. So what are we seeing from whose perspective, and what does all this mean, right? So it's kind of like, okay, interesting. Yeah, very, very cool. So now this is using, I guess, 1-point perspective and then a little bit of 2-point perspective, and but you can do all sorts of very neat things with perspective. All right, let's see here. Character perspective. Let's look at some character perspective things. Where is that one shot that I really wanted to show? I hope I have it here.
This shows that Martin did his preparations.
Yes,
yeah, I did. Okay, it's this one here, but there's a shot from underneath a desk that I saved, and I don't see it. That's too bad. Okay, I'm so upset now because it was a great shot. So there was a shot. It was a manga, and the shot was from underneath a desk in a classroom, and it was being shot from underneath, and you could kind of see. You saw the students, but it was coming from under the desk, so it made a really interesting mood. It was kind of similar to this one here, where you have this guy. So, like, you're seeing this from a certain perspective. Oh, I never noticed that. You see these guys over here in the background?
These little ghost thingies.
It's like signs.
A little
like
bit
from the movie Signs.
Like the movie, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so yeah, so this kind of, so this would be probably, what is this? Would this be a one? No, this is probably 2-point
That's 3
perspective.
point.
Because 3 point.
I think it's 3 point. Yeah, I think it's 3 point.
3. Well, you got the point up top. You got
the point up top, and then you got the 2 coming in. Yeah, going. Yeah, that could be just.
So.
Yeah, it could be just 2 point.
Yeah, 2.
The second point is up above rather than on the same on the horizon line.
Yeah. Unless this line here. Yeah. So, but that's an amazing. That's an amazing. It's still an amazing shot. I love it. I think it's like, who sits around and thinks like this, right? Like, I don't know if I'd ever think of this shot. Like, yeah, I'm one of this guy sitting here and draw it from this perspective, and like, did the writer write this or did the artist just come up with it? Like,
I mean, I put in worm's eye view or the camera
and
shot.
that's what that is. That's a worm's eye view, definitely.
All right. Now, speaking of a different kind of perspective, this is kind of interesting. That
well, that's an effective use of white space.
Yeah. So, so there's perspective being used here. You got, this happening. You got.
But that's just 2 point, right? I'm gonna see if I'm picking up what you guys are putting down. Isn't that just?
I'm trying to figure out where this is going here. This looks like a 2 point. Yeah. Maybe even 1 point perspective.
That's
because it's all going to like here. Now this is a little bit off the beaten trail. Okay, so, but again, this works. And so this goes out to here, here, here. So it looks like you can break the rules a little bit, like if you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So this is it 2 point? I don't know.
I think it's just one.
Yeah. Very, very fascinating.
It's not a strict, one.
Yeah.
It's been finessed. It's been finessed a little bit, but yeah, it's only 1 point.
1 point. All right. Let's see if we can find another. Now this is. What do we want to see here? All right. Now there's also other types of perspective, but I want to show you this because this is kind of interesting. Because you can have your perspective with a Fibonacci thing, and you can end up setting up very dynamic shots. Now this is pretty much from my perspective, a one perspective shot, 1 point perspective, and you're
straight back,
somewhere straight down here,
yeah,
and everything goes.
Yeah, again, it's been finessed a little, but it's not strict, but it's been finessed so that you could draw it and draw what you want. But yeah, nice. But I like the fact that it's got the
Fibonacci in there.
Yeah, that's cool.
So then this is some of these things are just too cool, just so cool. I had to show it. Now that's like this is a 1 point perspective. Like how cool is that?
That's
like,
a manga, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So
nicely done. And that's another one of those montage where the character is moving through the scene. That's because that's not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. That's the same one running through the scene. Yeah.
All right. Now, there's also other types of perspective, such as flat perspective or isometric perspective. Okay. And that was used a lot in like historical drawings.
Well, it's used in architectural drawings.
In architectural drawings. So now this is probably a more modern image that is heralding back to the old school times. I thought.
Well, that looks based on the one on the right with the orange background. That looks like a Japanese or Chinese print.
Yeah.
Very.
And is this considered the flat perspective?
Yeah, because
more or less, yeah.
Because everything kind of stacks on top of each other. Now, interestingly enough, if you ever see Sleeping Beauty from Disney, that entire movie is done in flat perspective. Pretty much. Like there's things in front of things to make it give you this sense of depth, but I'm pretty sure it's like mostly flat stuff.
I haven't seen it in a long time, so I don't know.
That's perspective in nature, but I don't know if we're going to touch on that this evening because we're starting to
atmospheric or aerial perspective you're talking about.
All right. Now back in the day, now this is
that makes sense.
These are Persian minis, and they incorporate like isometric, and so if you look at this, these lines go parallel.
Yeah, doesn't go. It doesn't get smaller in space, you know.
Yeah. So and then.
Yeah, that's isometric, definitely.
Yeah. So, So this is here like there's a sense of depth because things are in front of things, but like this is all flat. It's a very cool style. I'd be very intrigued to see Silverline do a book like this. I wonder what that would look like.
As an artist, when would you make this to see, like, typically I would think that you would err on the side of like the other perspective choices. When would you make the choice to do this? Because this would be an artist choice to express a story like that, right? As the writer,
so you're trying to tell the King Arthur legend. You might do this like a book illustrated from that era. You might do some panels that way, or you might do the whole book that way. It depends on how your style fits in it or not.
So if I, as a writer, said, "Hey, I have this sequence where it's a flashback to an ancient time," you may make the decision to kind of represent it.
Oh, that would be one way to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. So now here's some more modern takes of the flat perspective, right? So part of the reason why you would do this is if you want to get a lot of information on a page. So this is a way to do that. So like this is like just
that's too much.
That's just craziness, right?
Yeah.
But look at how much information is there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it conveys the chaos.
Yeah. So it's like, wow. So can you imagine how much time these people spent on this? Like, and this is very clean line, kind of Tintinish in a way.
Yeah. Very cartoony. Yeah,
very clean line, very simple.
Everything. Yeah.
But there's still so much information in here. Like it's just unbelievable how much how much detail is in this thing.
That artist has OCD.
So like I remember back in the day when Image came out and they started hammering out their books, and some of my friends went like, look at all the detail, and I was like, what detail? It's just scratches. So people took the cross hatching and all the slashy stuff.
Yeah, well, and then
it looked cool.
Then the amateur artists would come up to your table with them with that kind of stuff at the convention, and all it is scratchy. There's no form underneath it. You know, it's just it's just the surface. So they don't understand that there's a form underneath it that the hatching helps shape. But so they just went for all they saw was the scratchiness. They didn't see the form.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I got to show you this one too.
Yeah, I've been looking at that one the whole. Oh darn!
Which one?
That one that you're. Yeah, every time you go by that one, I don't know what that is. Okay.
Okay, so these two are super cool. I'm going to show you this one first.
Wow. Yeah, that's
like this is crazy. Now this looks like it has a little bit. This one actually looks like it has a little bit of the curvilinear thing going on.
It's 5 point. Yeah, definitely. Wow.
So
that's. You think Kirby puts more shortening in? That's crazy. Look at that.
Yeah. So this has got some curvilinear stuff going on.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of nuts. Yeah. Okay. So you got that. Yeah. So that's a pretty cool shot. Now this is a very cool shot with perspective. I thought this was just a great shot. Like how cool is this?
That is pretty cool.
Right down the throat of that dragon. Yeah.
Look at
that. That has got some serious punch. Like
and
wow.
That is that's some foreshortening, man. That is.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. Notice that. Okay, so he's got a curve happening here, right? That's a curve, all right. But then you got a little bit more straight stuff going on over here, and then you got like this, like wow.
Yeah, you got the organic forms of the dragon. It's set down in the middle of all of that.
Man, again, like, how do you think this stuff up? Like, where do you get the idea for that? Like, okay, I'm going to do this shot.
It's the image it's just the image that comes in your head.
That's amazing.
And the trick is to have the skills, the practice to get the skills to bring that from in here to put it on the page. That's why aspiring artists. That's why you practice, because what's in here, you're trying to get that on the page. What's in here is if once you get the story rolling in your head, the story will come in here. And you'll see it in your head, but how do you get it on the page? You gotta practice the skills.
So do note, people, that background is heavily referenced. Get your reference material. That's a very European. I think it's a European, or might be.
Looks almost manga. Looks manga.
Yeah, it is manga-ish. It is manga-ish, but it's.
But the building, the architecture of the buildings in the background is what you're talking about.
Yeah, it looks very Italian-ish.
Yeah.
At least in my mind, I could be wrong. But yeah.
Yeah, the art is informed by manga, definitely.
All right. Okay. Perspective and storytelling. Couple more shots here. Those are interesting to look at. So this is kind of neat. So he's using perspective, right? And but you've got
Wow.
like, how are you looking at
Very
the page?
cinematic. Very
Yeah,
cinematic. Yeah.
and how is this? How's this character like? Okay, this cat seems to be the main character. Or how are we looking at this? Like, from whose perspective are we seeing what? So that's something to think about. And then here's another page which has an
that's folks. That's when you compose the whole page in your head.
Yep.
The whole page has come together.
All right, and then
that's nice too. I like that.
I actually
Stark
really like
black and white. That doesn't need any color. Doesn't need a stitch of color on it.
So
I mean,
now
you can accent it. You can accent it even more. But I would, if I were the colorist, that coloring would be very simple on those panels.
Oh yeah. So now it's interesting. So you see, it's white on black, and then it's black on white.
Black on white, yeah.
Right. That flip. And is that a scope? Are we looking through a scope? He's carrying guns, and then all of a sudden we see.
Or is that the moon coming up behind some trees? Is this?
Oh yeah. That could be it. Yeah.
That's what it seems to be to me.
So from whose perspective are we seeing what? So very cool. Very, very cool. All right, let's do some practical application here and see what we can do. We're gonna pull up Rob's. Oh, and here's a couple more.
All right, I'm gonna get red penciled now.
Yeah, we're gonna red pencil. We're gonna red pencil. Let's see. Okay, let's do this one because the city is clearer, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Is that 2-page spread I did in the first issue of Twilight Grim?
No, it's not the 2-page spread. This is
Oh, okay.
Here we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, look at the glory of this page. It is awesome. It is great. This is our wonderful, venerable artist, Rob Davis, who drew this wonderful action sequence, which starts here with the guy coming out of the door at the bottom of the page. And up here,
this is Twilight Grim, though. This is Twilight Grim.
Yeah.
I think that's. I don't remember which issue that is, but.
So now I'm going to just.
I drew this.
I'm just gonna hang on. Let me just close a couple of these things so that we don't blow the page up when
you start scratching on it with your red pen.
Well, I'm gonna turn on the 5-point perspective ruler so that we can cheat.
You're gonna 5-point perspective it. Yeah, you said you were gonna try that.
Yeah. Oh, and there's Will Eisner. Some very great. Oh, this is kind of cool. Some cool, this is mind-bending stuff,
isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is isometric. Yep.
But you've got comic panels that are in perspective.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here.
I don't know what they were smoking when they came up with that.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, if you've never used Clip Studio Paint has wonderful layers called ruler frames. A ruler, and you can create a perspective ruler, and one of them is the fisheye perspective. So then we throw that on the board, and we get this giant doohickey over here, and now we can start moving that around and scaling it. Let's see if I can scale that down a little bit, or figure out where to get a line. Where is your horizon line? There's your horizon line. Your horizon line is there. All right, so let's go with the default and see what we could. Yep. So I'm gonna now
see what happens here.
Going to turn this down a little bit, and then we're going to add a drawing layer up here. And I'm going to switch to the pencil, and we're going to keep the lines red, I guess, or do we want to do blue line? What do you? We'll keep it red. All right. So let's see if we can get some curve stuff happening. Okay. So see, that's pretty subtle. See, Rob was right on. He was right on.
It's from a photograph.
Yeah. So yeah.
So
all right.
So the lens of the camera, whatever took this picture, it curved it a little. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So hang on. So why can't I get this curve? Okay, that's interesting. So all right. So let's see here. I need to put a vanishing point right there. So I got to figure out how to move my vanishing point here. Let's see if I can get one there. There. All right. Now let's go back to my drawing utensil. Is it going to give it to me?
I'd even forgotten I did that page.
Right. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna wing it. We're gonna wing it. So, let's. So I'm thinking you can actually cheat with curvilinear perspective. So we're gonna throw in this. That's where his horizon line is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And so then everything. Now we're gonna put the vanishing point right there. And now I'm going to just throw these curve lines just to make it a little bit more extreme.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Mm-hmm. We're going to do that. And then we're going to come here like this, like this, like this. So long as you know that you're curving stuff, okay? And then we're going to come here, come here, come here, come. As long as you know that you're supposed to curve stuff, you're golden, right? Okay, so now we know we want the buildings to come like this here. And then we're going to do this here. And then we're going to curve this. So now the other vanishing point is going to be down here somewhere. So these lines all need to kind of curve like, that you don't want to overdo it, because if you overdo it, then what happens is you end up, like making your page like all your buildings become like
you give your reader
rubber.
vertigo. You give your reader vertigo.
But that might be the intent. That might be the intent.
Yeah.
So okay, so then we're going to make this building here, and we're going to stick this here. All right. So see this car here? Now we could like pop this car up here, kind of pop it into this panel, and make it come like that. All right. So we do this. Maybe I made it a little bit too big. Where's my eraser? Erase. All right. So then we get the car there.
You should have done it on a different layer, then you could just shrink it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Exactly. So, all right. So we've just done a little bit of.
Yeah, and you could overlap that second panel with that car. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah. Oh, no, this is interesting. So this panel here, was this panel here an extension of this here? Was that an extension? That's an interesting idea. Huh. Okay. So then you could have these cars, and then these cars.
It's got the same.
Oh, they're coming this. They're coming this direction. Yeah. So then these cars could be riding on the curve. So I don't know how much more dynamic we made this, but this is kind of like.
Yeah, that could add to it, definitely. Yeah.
But again, this is not better. This is not worse. This is just an idea.
It's different. Different interpretation of it. Yeah.
So yeah. So as we've seen, 5-point perspective can add some dynamics to your page, but we also saw some very dynamic 1-point perspective drawings as well. So this is kind of an interesting. Let's see what happens here. All right, there we go. There. So there. That's a. Wow, that looks like it's like popping out at you, eh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Oh, let me jump on the. There we go.
Yeah, that's the car. Yeah, that's the car. Yeah. Looks more like a car now. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. All right, there we go. And then now, if you were to have a hero here, you could then have your hero come flying through. There comes Twilight Grim with his guns.
Yeah, that could have made an interesting cover.
Mm-hmm.
Bang, bang, bang. And now let's switch to black so we can actually distinguish him. So yeah. All right. So yeah. Oh, did switch to black? There we go. All right. So there we go. There we go. Foreshortening, people. Use your foreshortening. Let's get this guy's leg coming out right at you, like that. And his jacket is flailing behind him.
Yep.
Then we get his guns ablazing.
45s. Yep.
Go shoot those vampires. Yeah. So
Yep, with his bullets with a cross scratched on them. Yep.
All right, there we go. Very, very rough Twilight Grim.
Yeah.
Running into war. All right. Wow. So I hope we've kind of hit the top of the hour here, folks, and this was a very interesting, enlightening evening. I learned something, that there's a lot of different ways to look at something and a lot of different ways to approach something. And if you want to make some dynamic pages, there's a couple different ways to do that. So you could do 1-point perspective, isometric perspective, 5-point perspective, 3-point, 2-point. And what happens if you like do 2-point with a curve? You know, like just add some dynamics in there and see what happens. So, yeah. So, thank you for joining us on this adventure. I hope you, Kasisi and Rob, had fun this evening.
Oh, I did. I learned a lot of ways to explain things too. This is
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
if you have something you want to try and throw in there to get the artist to do, now you know what to call it.
Exactly. Well, at least I must be dangerous, right? I know enough for them to cuss me out is what it boils down to.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that.
So yeah, so I hope people out there who may be watching got at least a primer. We didn't show you too much as to how to do stuff, but we kind of showed you how to think about things and how some people in the comic biz have done some of their work. Or in the illustration industry. I just took images from all over the place. I don't know where they're from. So whoever you are, if you end up seeing your picture on this show, thank you for letting us see your wonderful work, because all of that stuff was so cool.
Yeah, it was.
So, yeah. All right. So, as we like to say on our Wednesday nights when we lock it up, make mine Silverline.
Hey, I'm G-Rod. Make mine Silverline. You heard me.